Alright guys, welcome back. It's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com, and today's video is a very curious case of an auction that's going on eBay right now. I will put the link below. I was posed the question of this BGS9 Alpha Black Lotus gem mint grade. It's being auctioned by PWCC. They are probably the largest eBayer of cards in the world. They've established a reputation for selling pre-war and post-war cards, for sports cards, for baseball, and also high-end basketball cards, modern cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, etc. They do generally pretty much no reserve auctions, but I was posed the question, is this auction a real auction in terms of its bidding? Because people were afraid that people could essentially shill bid and bid the auction up. And also the more important question is the price that it's currently at, because it just reached around $55,500, which is pretty much a record for any high-end Magic card on auction, and it hasn't even ended yet. It's only been like not even a day. So the question is that even, where's this price going to end up, and why is it even occurring this way? So I thought I'd do a video because I think some of you guys are probably not in the market or not informed by what's going on in the marketplace for the high-end cards. So I figured I'd give you guys some insight. So first off, yes, I mean the auction is 100% legitimate. The seller is legitimate. They obviously, what their goal here is to find the right buyer for the cards. So they not only promote it on their website, they pre-promote it on their website, but they also monitor the bidders who are bidding. So in the case of bidders, if the bidder, and the bidders have decent feedback, if the bidders are not legitimate or they have a concern, they're going to vet the bidders. So generally on like a 10-day auction, they got plenty of time and they have the resources to contact bidders who are essentially legit. Now obviously, things could slip through the cracks. People could, obviously not purchase the item. That does occur. Now let's talk about the second part of the question was, is this pricing legitimate? What will this price go to when it ends in here in about 9 days or so? And what can we expect for the market? So first off, I'll be really clear with you. I think as of today, there's about 38 BGS 9.5 Alpha Lotuses. And this is a very important card for the Magic the Gathering community. I think it's probably the #1 sought after card in the community, and it's also the most coveted, the Holy Grail, the Ultimax, whatever you want to call it. It is the top tier card of all of Magic the Gathering collectors. And we're not just talking about just a basic Alpha Lotus played. We're talking about a high-end graded 9.5 gem mint card. Now, there is a BGS 10 Alpha Lotus, but we're not including this in the conversation because really the obtainability of that is almost impossible. It's basically impossible. So within the 9.5 Alpha range, there's subgrades. And there's also, I believe, 5 or something PSA 10s, but I'm not talking about PSA 10s here. I mean, we're gonna stick with the BGS stuff for now. So in the BGS 9.5 world, I think there's 2 quad plus plus, which basically means there's 2 10 subgrades and 2 to 9.5 subgrades on the card, meaning 0.5 for a BGS 10. And I believe there's at least 10 or so quad pluses or so in the world, plus or minus, a few. But, I think that the idea here is that there's a limited range of bets, let's say like 10 that are available, and quad plus, probably 10 or more, right? Quad or quad plus. And I am also accounting the fact that there's also a signed Alpha Lotus 9.5 quad plus and a quad, I believe. So I believe I actually graded those. I actually don't remember, but the point is, those actually account for the population, but some people don't put that in the population because they're signed. Nevertheless, I mean, there's about, let's say, 49.5 Alpha Lotuses in the world. So in that mix, there's these higher end versions. So not basic subgrades, meaning the one on auction has three 9.5 subgrades and 1 9. So this is what we call in the grading world a basic subgrade Black Lotus. Now, everybody can argue, this video is not to argue, is the card worthy of a 9.5? Is it going to convert to a PSA 10? Is it, it's not about if the graders did their job. My question here, and the question that was posed to me for this video, is the valuations worthy of it? Let me talk about something about the history of how this works and how the high-end graded cards work. Most of the cards that you've ever seen graded have never, ever entered the market in terms of public auction. In fact, most are just sold privately, they're traded, there's just deals that are just done that are never shown on auction. So I believe on auction there's been a couple of things that have occurred. One is there was a BGS 9.5 quad, not a quad, but 2 10s, a 9.5 and a 9, a basic plus, essentially what they call it, Alpha Lotus, that sold by PWCC for like $27,000, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago. I believe I won that card, but I returned the card back to them because the card actually, in my opinion, it was actually, there's something wrong with the card. It actually was misgraded, and they changed the subgrades, but then they kept it as a 9.5, which I actually disagreed, and I actually returned the card, and it was bought by someone else. So in that case, that was a public auction for about $27,000 or so. There's also a Beckett auction for a quad plus, meaning all 9.5s and a 10. It was trying to go for about, there was a reserve at like $50,000, and I don't think it ever hit. I think it ended up selling for about $40,000, $45,000, something like that. So let's say that was the range. And over the years, there's been cards that have sold quad pluses, so sold for like 50K, that kind of range. And there's been basics that have sold all over the map. There's basics that have sold for like 25K, 30K, 35K, etc. Now, let's talk about the current state of the market, where it's at today in 2018, because it's important to understand where it's at. Now, recently, since last year, the boom of the Power 9 has gone up retarded levels. And I'm telling you guys right off the bat, if you have not purchased your Power 9, I would do so now. And this is not a salesman pitch. I have been saying this for the longest time to everybody, and I'm going to say it again. If you keep waiting to buy your Power 9, it's going to continually rise. Well, Daniel, why hasn't it risen since now? Why is this such a big deal? Good point. Maybe it's awareness of the YouTube videos, and it's not me, by the way. I don't think it's because of Rudy or me. It's because what's going on is a lot of combination of factors. One is that there is this inflationary type of situation that has occurred in Magic. For many years, a lot of older cards have been sitting around, reserve list cards, dual lands, even beta, alpha lands, basic lands. And the cards have been sitting around at very low end prices. Even commons for Alpha and Beta, Arabian Nights, Legends, basic Legend rares have gone to, were really nothing for a long time. $5, $10 a pop, right? In the last year, especially, and also the last 2 or 3 years, you've seen an acceleration of buying and growth in all these markets. And in addition to that, you've also seen speculation moves. You see these people buy out, stone calendars, Frankenstein's monsters, Homelands cards for some. I think there was like this wall of kelp for Homelands, for God's sake. It's a reserve list card that's gone up to like $15 to $20. For God's sake, really, guys? But my point is, those are what I call like the penny stocks, stocks that are basically hugely volatile. If there's a big sell-off and there's not enough buying power, buying interest, they're going to tank dramatically. I also think like mid-level cards, or nicer old school cards like Guardian Beasts, Serendipity, Freak, Juzam de Jin, all those cards, Drop of Honey, have all risen over the years and now have become holy grails of the set collecting world for Arabian Nights, collectibles, and such like that. So the nostalgia flavor for those cards have gone up a lot. Now you talk about tier, I call tier 1. Let's say tier 1's the highest, there's tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, whatever tier, lower tiers you want. But alpha the Power 9 are basically the tier 1 cards. And if you want to make that even broken down further, I would say the Alpha Power 9 are the ultimate tier 1. In fact, I would probably say the Alpha Power 9 and like the Alpha Dual Lands all fit in tier 1 cards. It would just be by itself, just tier 1 period. Now, you could argue and be like, well, damn, why is it like Juzan de Jin, Library of Alexandria, all those in the tier 1 scale? Here's my explanation behind this, and it's behind all this phenomenon, what's going on. The cards that are you seeing rising, the tier 1 cards I consider tier 1, are the ones that have tremendous exponential growth long term. I'm talking potential to rise so further out than beta, further out than any other card out there. I think tier 1 cards to me have great, long-term growth. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, you've seen like a little bit of a move up. That's kind of a spike pattern, but I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is just a correction of what it should be now for today's prices. So tier 1 to me in this case, the Alpha Black Lotus, the Power 9, the Dual Lands. I mean, the played Alpha cards, the Power 9 Dual Lands in general, are just going crazy, especially the Power 9. Maybe there's a tier 1 and a tier 1.1. I don't know. But the truth of the matter is there's something going on with the Alpha Power and the duals that you cannot avoid seeing this trend. Now, a lot of people have told me, hey, look, wait a second. This has gone up so high. Don't you think it's time to sell? Don't you think it's time to sell? Why would you want to buy in this market? Don't you have to buy low and sell high? Okay, here's my analysis on that. That is exactly what happened. Exactly what happened to everyone who thought that I was crazy for buying the Power 9 back in the day. That was what happened to everyone who thought I was stupid buying Power 9. Like I was trying to sell Alpha Black Lotuses, like PSA 9s, for like $2,000 or $2,500 back in the day, and everybody thought I was crazy no one wanted to buy them. And I have to say that's probably like at least 10 years ago or so. But the thing is, I mean, everybody said the same thing before as they are today. So I mean, there's more people saying, well, the market's going to go up, but it's the same rhetoric. Some people say, hey, there's still people saying the Power 9, Alpha Power 9 market or whatever, beta, even beta has gone up, unlimited, right? That's going to tank. Something's going to happen. The reserve list is going to get reprinted. Some crap's going to happen. Some systemic problem's going to happen. Counterfeits. The Chinese are going to figure it out. The Vietnamese, the freaking Iraqis, I don't know. I mean, someone's going to figure it out, right? I think all that is the fear play. It's basically the doomsday scenario, the fear play that everybody has been trying to scare everybody for years. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm not saying that's a sales pitch, I'm here to tell you that if you don't believe that the prices are legit now, I don't think you've seen anything yet. I'm here to tell you that the older Magic cards are so special. They've transcended beyond like modern day baseball cards. They've transcended beyond even some of the vintage cards for baseball. In fact, it's so crazy that it makes Pokemon look like a joke. I think the BGS 10 Charizard holofoil sold for like $45,000, $50,000, and here we are with the Alpha Black Lotus at basic subgrade level. Sold for what? $50,000? Or is that $55,000? Now here's a fun tip. There are 3 BGS 10 Beta Black Lotuses. 3. I graded all 3. There's actually one eBay auction, not eBay auction, but eBay store sale. You may have forgot. There was a BGS 10 Beta Black Lotus, I believe, that sold earlier this year for about $100,000. I think $100,000. That's right, on eBay. I don't think anybody caught on if that was a real sale, whatever. It is confirmed. It is a real 100% sale. Was it sold by me? But I'm telling you guys, it was confirmed. It is a sale on eBay. It is on there. It's not for sale anymore. It's off the market. Now, the second that was the first BGS 10 that was graded. And the second BGS 10, I sold to a guy for a retail price of about $105,000. And then there was a discount because he was a store member on our website, vintagemagic.com. But it, you know, the point is, and it went down to like 90,000 or something like that. But basically, that sale is basically done, completed. So there's 2 higher than the Alpha Black Lotus sales that have already occurred. And now there is a 3rd BGS 10 Beta Lotus that I graded, and that sale is not done, it's not completed, but it trumps everything. And I'm not going to make it public because it's private to the collector. But the reality is, let's talk about these 6-figure sales that are going on, right? And by the way, it doesn't matter if you think it's cash, trade, Bitcoin, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The equivalent currency is that amount. And you guys can argue and say, well, Dan, what if it's trade? Well, you know, I'm not going to disclose all the details of all the sales. That's not the way it works. That's that's privacy of the collector. But in the world of like higher end collectibles, people want their privacy. And let's just leave it at that. But this is not a game. This is the reality. So now you see it on this BGS 9.5 Alpha Black Lotus on eBay, for example. And you see it at 55,500 right now. I mean, maybe higher by the time I post this video. You start to wonder, maybe maybe this is true. Maybe I should buy more Power 9. Maybe Daniel wasn't making this up. I do this video because I want you guys to understand that the market that you see today is a result directly correlated to a strong economy, a bullish sign for Magic the Gathering gaming collectibles, a nostalgia for gaming collectibles and Americana and collectibles and gaming, right? And the rarity, the condition of the card, and most important, number 5, probably the most important. When you have investors who are putting this kind of money into collectibles, the consumer confidence, what I was telling you before, that was going down for all the new Magic cards, has failed. Welcome, everybody. It's a new age of high-end investing. Be prepared.